and now we have finally arrived. The tree is up and the decorations are out and there's lights all around, and it's really beginning to look a lot like Christmas as the song goes. And yet we are still not quite there. We have moved from the porch of anticipation and hope up into the attic where the memories and the longing for peace are found. Over into the kitchen where there's a flurry of activities all coming together that will spark joy. And now into the fourth and final week of Advent, we come to the place in our journey home for Christmas through the Gospels, where we find ourselves in the living room. And in the living room of the Christmas home, we find ourselves in the Gospel of John. Now, for Mark and Matthew and Luke, the good news begins at some point in human history. But John takes us someplace completely different. We notice these in the opening words of John's Gospel when he says, "In the beginning." The good news actually begins at the beginning of everything. Because at the beginning of everything and before the beginning of everything, there is God. We weren't even on the scene yet, and at that moment of creation, it was also the beginning of our story of redemption. John begins with the words "in the beginning," and he continues and he uses words like God and Word and life and darkness and light. God spoke creation into being, and the first thing created in Genesis is the first thing noted in the gospel account, and that is light. It's no wonder we fill our trees and our homes and our streets and sidewalks with lights this time of year. We need the light. We need the love the light of the world brings to us. As Eugene Peterson's paraphrase, the message puts it, the Word became flesh and blood and moved into the neighborhood. Ancient church father Irenaeus said, God became what we are in order to make us what God is. The point of the incarnation, that is God becoming flesh, is for our transformation. Being made in the image and the likeness of God, to set us free from the hurt and the brokenness and the shame. And whether the light of the star over the Bethlehem stable or the multiple lights in a tree, even the single flame of a candle can all magnify the spark of life that is found there. Author Cynthia Campbell writes the following. She said, light is one powerful metaphor in John's gospel, and the other is life. The life of the Word is the light that shines in the darkness. God sheds light in our lives to mend what is broken and to bring back those who have wandered off. The light through the window of a home or even outside of a home on a lamppost is what brings us home to Christ. The opening verses of John's gospel don't focus on the details of the virgin birth. They don't focus on the shepherds or the wise men, so much as they set in front of us the reason that his birth is going to offer us new birth. A rebirth that only comes from God. True living comes into the space of our lives as we stand open to the light of Christ. We have come now to the end of our Advent study, and I hope that in reading the scriptures and in pondering the questions and maybe having conversation with someone else about the questions in front of you, that as we stand on the brink of Christmas where the light in the darkness shines eternally, calling us home, that we will find ourselves closer to that home, that we will be able to reflect that light so that others who may have lost their way or don't know their directions can find their way home to Christ. For the light is calling us, calling our life to be given to the light of the world, who came just for us for that reason and not just for a season alone. Be blessed. Be safe as you go forth and celebrate this Christmas.